said that most of the short stories would be in this collection. Which ones aren't?
Which short stories are not in the collection? Let me think. One of them is called Curses, and it's the short story. It's more of a lighter one. It's a short story about Harry getting hired by the Cubs to get the Billy Goat curse taken off the team. And the other one is called. I was really incensed that it wasn't in. We weren't going to be able to do it. The other one's called Even Hand. It's a short story from the perspective of John Marcone, and sort of shows you what he's doing behind the scenes. And if you read the short story and then go read the scene in Changes in Burger King, it has two totally different meanings. And I was so upset that I wasn't going to get to put that in the books. And I got it, as it is, I missed two of the short stories, and I know I told you guys I wanted them all together where you could all get to all of them. So the only thing I can do to still keep my word to you is to write a second collection of short stories. So I got to write more of the things. But I'm going to do it because I said I would. So way at the very back.
Since you finished the Codex Alera series, and you're working on this, are you going to work on another series at all, or?
Okay, since I finished Codex Alera, am I going to be working on something else to take its place? Yes, I'm sure. I'm just not quite sure what yet. Yeah, I would have too much time on my hands if I didn't. So I think what I'm planning on is kind of a post-apocalyptic fantasy thing that I'm going to write with my friend Cam Banks, because Cam is like one of the only guys I've ever known who could actually put up with me long enough to do that. But it's sort of one of those, the heroes went forth to face the Dark Lord and fulfill the prophecy, and they bravely did they stride in upon him, and he killed them all, and the world was plunged into darkness. Yeah, chapter 1. That's exactly what it is. Over here. How difficult was it to get the first book published? Well, I wrote my first book when I was 19, in 1990, and it was awful. Wrote book 2 not too long after that, also terrible. Book 3 as well, terrible. Book 4, I decided to change things up and write kind of this sort of X-Files-y paranormal thing, and that was also a dismal failure. As was book 5, which was a rewrite of book 1, which hadn't been all that good to begin with. Eventually, though, I wrote, I think this was the 6th or 7th book I wrote, which was Stormfront. And I sent it off to an editor because I got a recommendation from my teacher. I had an introduction letter to Ginger Buchanan, and it stayed there for 3 years. So I started thinking, well, maybe I better not wait on that forever, you know. So all in all, I finally got an agent in 1999, and it got sold about 6 months after that. And so, you know, basically it was an overnight project. It took me a real long time to get undumb enough to actually learn how to do a good job. So I'm not terribly bright some days, but at the very back, hand up.
You're doing a short story from the point of view of Ruby, and you've done one from the point of view of Thomas. So will each short story be done from the point of view of some of the other characters?
Maybe. I haven't gotten that far yet. Maybe. Probably not from the point of view of anybody who's really clued into what's going on, though. Or if I do, then the character will just be standing there going, I'm not going to tell you that. You're just going to have to trust me. It was important that we do this. Haha. But we'll have to see. You know, I mean, some of the characters I just couldn't do that with. I couldn't do that from Mouse's point of view, for example, because, you know, he'd be so much cooler than everybody else. Well, he's a dog, man. Dogs are cool. They're just kind of intrinsically that way. Right here, sitting down, just behind you, yeah.
I really love the way you handle the Fae, and I'm curious if we're going to get to meet Tanya.
Are we ever going to get to meet Tanya, Queen Titania, the Summer Queen? Yes, but probably it's going to be a while. It might not be till the last 3 books that we see her. She's heavy duty, so. Over here.
How many books are you planning to write?
How many books am I planning to write? The original plan, actually the events of changes were I originally had them penciled in for book 10, but it's taken me a couple books longer to get there. So the original plan was for 20 books and a 3-book apocalyptic trilogy capstone ending, dun, 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 with music by John Williams. But we'll see. We'll see if I'm still going to be able to get there by 20. It might actually wind up being like 21 or 22 or something like that. Not a whole enormous high number of books, but because I want the story to have like a beginning and an end, and for everybody to get to read them. Oh, by the way, people coming through line tonight, please don't tell me, just don't die, okay? Because I think we can all rationally assume that that is sort of implied, and you're just going to jinx it. So, right here, young man. What does my shirt say? It is Latin for a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Or as close as Latin can come to saying that. So.
Are you thinking about selling the movie rights, or did the series kind of take that out of you?
Okay, did I ever think about selling the movie rights, or did the series take that out of me? And the answer is, I already did sell the movie rights. Lionsgate has them. And they have them for another 3 years and 5 days, not that I'm keeping track. And after that time, they revert back to me. I doubt Lionsgate is going to do anything with it. I can't imagine why they would. So, I mean, as far as they're concerned, this was just the show that crashed on Sci-Fi. So, we'll see what happens later, though. Right here, sir.
So, I'm on my second read through of the book. Why do you hate Harry Dresden?
You got it all wrong, man. I love him. I love him. I want him to succeed. But for that to happen, he must have great pain. Joss Whedon, I read an interview about Joss Whedon where they were on the set of Buffy, and they had just had to have Buffy do some heart-wrenching scene for like the 5th time. And Joss hadn't got quite what he wanted, so he asked Sarah to go do it again. And she turned around and just kind of stared at him, and she said, Joss, do you have any idea how difficult this is on me? Do you have any idea how, I mean, this is really bad. He puts his hand on her shoulder and says, Sarah, this show thrives upon your pain. I look at that and just go, Joss Whedon is my master now. He has that one exactly right. If Harry had a happy day, it would be boring. It would be a terrible book. Let's go back over here first.
So, who plays Harry Dresden in this hypothetical movie?
Who plays Harry Dresden in this hypothetical movie? I don't know. There's been all kinds of different people that have given suggestions. I always kind of liked Will Smith, just because he has the right attitude. But now he's going to hit the gym, and he's gotten all buff and stuff now, so I don't know. Right here. Yeah.
Why the frozen turkey?
Okay, hang on. Why the frozen turkey? Why not a frozen turkey? That's the question I pose to you. I had to have some kind of Looney Tunes something, and I couldn't readily think of a way to get a safe up above the city. A frozen turkey falling out of a plane, though, yeah.
I was going to ask, how often do you get writer's block, and what do you do to get past it?
I don't have writer's block. I have a mortgage. Honestly, writer's block is for folks who don't have to, who don't have to have their stuff in on time, and I'm not one of those folks. So, generally speaking, I don't believe in writer's block. I don't really get writer's block. Sometimes I just really want to go play City of Heroes instead. But really, it's one of those things that I believe is a point of personal discipline that you just have to sit down and go through it and start writing until it works. There are other people who say writer's block is real. Maybe they're right, but I disbelieve. I rolled a disbelief. 20.